Computer. Lights.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. You can tell that my camera did not like me this morning, so we're back to it is super overexposed. Like so, like so, like so. There we go, much better. That's the way it always goes here. And are we back to blinkies? Yep. Needs to be at 50 hertz so it'll stop anti-flickering. I have to bring up the gain just a hair, like so. Brightness there, and apply. Okay. I have to every so often. So, all right. We are at doing a few things here, but today we're probably going to spend most of the day working on cells, because we've got 2 days before con and I need to finish the cells. So we're going to do that. I can't tell if music's playing. Music's playing. We do have some cool stuff. I got these acrylic signs. So they're designed really for you to hang up on the wall and put on, put your thing that says, don't use this bathroom or whatever. However, they're perfect for these cells, right? They're perfect for them because you can see through them. See through them. See, I can see you. Anyway. And so, but they're acrylic and they're hard, so they're really good for this kind of thing. And they have screws on them, which means that one of the things I can probably do is take 2 of them and screw them together and get them sort of so you can already get the parallax without having to go through a lot of building and construction like I've been trying to kind of come up with for a couple of years. And the cells then are actually really easily removed from here. It doesn't take a whole lot to get them out of here. So that's also a plus. You could just slip them in and they protect them really well. And they're in there really nice. One of the things I love about this is that you can see through the books here. All the bullet holes. That cracks me up. But we got to paint. So we're going to be painting today. So we're going to switch over. Hello, Brent. Yes, cell day. So I'm actually going to crank up this guy. So that I can get in here and read what's going on. No, don't need that. But I do need to find my whoever subscription thing. There we go. That was easy. But I do need to find my whoever subscription thing. Yep, we gotta plug in this so we can stop it from easy. But I do need to find because that's going to go. That's going to be funny. Yep, we gotta plug in this so we can stop it from easy. But I do need to find because that's going to go. That's going to be funny. Yep, we gotta plug in this so we can stop it. There we go. So one of the goofy, stupid things about iPads is that there is literally no way to mute a microphone. No way at all. You cannot do it. I can turn the volume down, but there's no way to turn it off. And I've always thought that was, kind of part and parcel of what bothers me about Apple most of the time is that. So, there we go. What bothers me the most about Apple is that it's like it has control and you don't need to worry about it. There's no reason why you shouldn't why you'd need to worry about it at all. So anyway, there we go. Okay. We're going to do some solar today. We've got water over here, and I'll actually put this. Ooh, the water's warm. Ugh. And what we have on here is, this is a light board. So I actually can turn it on. Or not, there we go. I can turn it on and we can get light underneath it so I can see whether there's holes in here or not. So I don't actually want it on at this point because we're not at that stage. Yeah, Apple controls everything, and it really bothers me. My wife is a big Apple fan, and I am not a big Apple fan. And so there's some stress in the house on that. That's not true. I say that like she's all stressed out. She's not. I'm moving the microphone. Sorry, guys. The microphone keeps getting knocked off by somebody, and I won't name any names, but they're fuzzy. They have 4 legs. They like to get up here and steal my stuffed animals that my son gave me. Stuff like that. It is a thing. We are prepping the area right over here. Some inexplicable reason I have random money. I don't even know what the random money is for. Super random. All right. With Apple, there is no control. So I use I have a set of really cheap brushes that I use for this. These brushes are Artist Loft brushes. They're not very expensive. And I intentionally use my cheaper brushes for this job because the cheaper brushes were like $2 and something and change. And they are not bad. They're just all synthetic. And so they're perfect for this job, which, so I've got myself 3 sizes of brushes. Usually I'll either use 3 sizes or I'll use 1 size or 2 sizes. I mean, so I've got this big umbrella that we've got to do. So I'm going to take the bigger brush and this little brush. And that's what we're going to use for this. Sometimes I'll use a medium brush, but I don't need to today. So we're using this Apple Barrel White. I'm just going to put some in the bin here. It takes a lot of Apple Barrel White to do these things. So anyway, and then we just slap it in. Right? Tormund does the same thing, huh? When I'm using the big brush, I'm going to stay away from the edges and just fill in the bigger areas. And you can already see, because of the brush strokes, you can see through the brush strokes there. And that's what I'm looking for. Like right here, I can really see through these brush strokes. So I'm going to want to know that at some point. Not right now, though. I'm kind of going in here and just kind of laying down as much as I possibly can in this area. And just kind of go around the edges. I want to be very careful when I do this because sometimes I'll grab paint and it'll drip along here, and I want to do that. Don't want to do that. So when I come down through her neck and stuff like that, I'm just gonna do that because I'll come in later and then fill that out. I can go in here, right, and come over here. There we go, just like that. And we're just gonna go down the line here. And I've got to be careful not to get crazy because if I'll get like, well, I could just fill that up, and I need to not do that. I need to be in the much thinner brush when I'm in those tight areas. And I, every so often, I'm like, oh, I could do that. It's fine. And then I end up having to go over the edge. When I do, that's what this tool is for. This is an actual scraping tool for doing the backs of those transfer papers. But I use it and repurpose it. Thanks, Dad, because it was my dad's. So I will thank my father yet again for handing me his tools, which he still thought was really strange. But here I am doing all the things. He even was talking about, you're a digital artist. Why do you need all my physical tools? Well, Dad, sometimes I do weird crap. It does not involve being a digital artist. I like this. I feel like this is very outside the boxy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're really outside the box on this, doing this kind of thing. So, all right. Now I'm kind of feeling like I'm getting a little too close to the edges. So I'm going to go back through. This is going to have to dry, and I'm going to have to put a second coat in. So I'm just going to go ahead and just try to get as close to the edges of the umbrella as I can. But you can see as it starts to dry, it thins out, gets stickier, gets weirder. So at this point in time, I'm feeling like this is probably all the damage we can do with the big brush. I'm going to clean the big brush off. It is outside my comfort zone, but strangely enough, this is still comfortable. I know that's not really what you're saying. I love doing anything art oriented, and this is very fun and nice and everything like that. Okay, I'm cleaning off the brush over here in my puck, and it actually comes out pretty clean. Doesn't turn out bad at all. We're going to switch to the smaller brush. So this is a wedge cut small brush. I'm going to go in here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start hitting this edge here. I'm going to try to come along this edge like so. Right. And we'll kind of do that. And I'm just going to try to get into this edge without getting into the actual piece here. And I feel like as time goes on, I might be able to speed this process up a little, but at the moment, it's just time consuming. And usually when I do cells, see, I went over there, so I'm going to have to come back on that. I need to remember to do only this side with the cell turned this way. I'm having a hard time remembering, as is usual with me, I'm having a hard time remembering all the rules. It's not that I intend to, it's a wedgie. I'm not intending to break all the rules. So I'm going to stay away from this side of her leg. I'm going to get this side. Right here. Right. I think I can get in here and do this. Edge right there. And just come in here. And I can get this side of her leg on this side because, but not right there. We're not going to mess with that. Right. And then we can rotate it. And when we rotate it, then I can get the other side. I'm actually going to move this guy right over here. All right, we'll get up onto there. We can come in here and do this. Still not sure whether this is a good idea or not. I may regret making so. We may go to the convention and nobody buys it. It just they all look at me like I'm some kind of weirdo. Wait, why would I buy cells from something that doesn't exist? That's so weird. Why in the world did you want to do that? I mean, they are hand painted. That's kind of cool. Happy drunken Irish leprechaun thing day to you too, Donald. Happy, as I posted on Facebook, happy leprechaun. To which Brent responded appropriately by saying, I was done. I was done. Get out. I love that. It was good. Trolling my friends is a pastime. It's a pastime, I tell you. All right, coming up here. We're just doing this. I'm not going to get this side over here because that's on the other side. I'm going to try to get up here. Now, once the paint is down, even if it is brushy like this, I can get back to it easier. I haven't gotten that tech manual in yet. No, it hasn't come in yet. So, I mean, we're gonna hope for it. But what, like the guys at Mixum said, we could rush this, but that'll add an extra however much to it. And when I did the math on that, what it added was it added enough. Oops, that outside there. It added enough that what would have ended up happening is I would have made exactly 2 cents off of each copy. And I was like, well, logically speaking, I probably ought not to do that. So we'll take a risk and see whether it shows up. Con the Highlander. I am McLeod Noonian Singh. So anyway, business-wise, I opted to just go on ahead and have it at normal delivery. And if it shows up today or tomorrow, we're awesome. And if it doesn't, we do what we can do, right? And we'll take it to Wicked West. And so that's my ongoing battle plan in hopes that things will work. So often I've noticed that we used to wear gloves when we did these, and now that I'm back doing these again, I kind of can see why my fingerprints are all over these things. And so I'm like, well, there's that. So probably pick you up, put you down. There we go. Probably at some point I might go ahead and wear gloves for this. There we go. I don't know. 2024 is after the eugenics war. So they're probably going to be in the sanctuary district. That's the way to do it, man. Go get your corned beef and hash. Hang with the Irish folk. See what trouble you can get into. All right. Going back in here and just touching up areas. Because we're about to set this guy over. I guess she's a girl. We're about to set this girl over. And she's going to sit on the desk over there and dry. Because we're going to have to come back for a second pass on her. This is kind of a maddening procedure for those of us that are ADD folks. Because it requires us to remember to do stuff. And that's hard. Okay. So okay, so pass 1 is done. And we don't worry about little bits of black like that. But you can already see when I turn this on, we've got some holes that are going to have to come back and be in and filled for pass 2. Right? You can already see areas here that are very light. And I'm going to wait for pass 1 to dry before we come in here and do that. So each cell requires 2 passes, at least. Some cells require more. So this guy, or gal, is now going to go sit over on the table over here. And she's going to dry off for a little while. Put her over here, and she's in position 1. I actually learned a couple of days ago that maybe I don't want to do that because that makes her drip. And that's not good. So, well, as someone with Scottish family, we just usually just hang with Irish folk on days like today. Shrug. And like, it's cool. Now, I do want to finish Door Girl's cell because Door Girl's cell is actually done and she looks awesome. So I'm going to go on ahead and finish the other part of Door Girl's cell because might as well, because that way we can at least have this ready to go. So yeah, this is already very tight, so I don't need to worry about it. Hey, George, is this oh yeah, George break? We get a legitimate George break? Look at us getting a George break. Here's a George break here. What a good cat. The sometimes George definitely involves George today. It's snowing outside and cold, and I sent my child out in it. It was so much fun to build character. Okay. There you go. That's your scritching time, George. Already going to start with this. I still feel kind of like this isn't showing as much as I'd like it to, so let's go ahead and pull it down a little bit more. Sorry, guys. I know this is just going to make you guys all sick, but this is a better. There we go. See, now the problem we've got is that somebody, and I'm looking at that somebody right now, likes to get up here and get on top of things. Okay, use this brush is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to. Earthquake. Yeah. Turns out everybody's actually okay from the earthquake, by the way. A number of my buddies have checked in. Haven't heard from the adopted kid yet, but I don't think that's top on their priority list to tell us what's going on. So. Not as worried. Somebody had said today that imagine that your mind is a pond with fish in it, and every fish is an emotion. And you should strive to be the pond, not the fish. And I thought that was a very interesting thing. Very interesting. Interesting concept, anyway. I have to admit, I am not ecstatic about the idea of painting letters. So
I don't think this is going to be something I'm going to do very often because it's just irritating me. What I probably should get is an acrylic paint pen that lays down white paint. Yeah, it is very much, but I like the mental concept of it, which is the idea of just reframing your thoughts. So you're no longer thinking about, all the turmoils of your emotions, but looking at all of your emotions from the top view and saying, hey, I get that you're all fish here. We've all got work to do, sort of thing. Okay, did it stop? Did my music stop? It's just very quiet. The paint is getting kind of thick. It's been sitting out here. This paint has a 1 hour dry period, so kind of want to get in here relatively soon and do something with the paint, probably reintroduce some water into it. Kind of reconstitute a little bit what's left here. And since we're kind of doing a run here and we're running as much as we possibly can, after a day, this paint is hard as rock. I have to use a razor blade to get it off. So early on, I can use this guy, and it works really well. But yeah, after a day, I've got to get a razor blade. I got to use. Whoa, my coffee falling over. I've got to use this guy to get to it. Hang on real quick. If I don't get to these things, I put this tablecloth out, and it's really cool, and I love my tablecloth, but if I don't get to these things right away, whenever I knock things over onto it, it'll stain the tablecloth. So I'm going to real quickly. I have a water sprayer for just this moment. Here's the water sprayer. I knocked my coffee over, but I use these tumblers for a reason, right? If I get the water in here in time, I can dab up this coffee, and we don't have a problem. The tumbler, of course, kept it from spilling everywhere, so there's no urgency there. Anyway, like I was saying, I'm actually going to move my coffee to right here. Get it out of everybody's way, including mine. Okay. Now, I'm going to take some of this water here, and I've already kind of built up a little on here. We're going to take a quick break with it. I'm going to go in here and this is my box of many things. And in here, I tend to have, oh, hey, there's my really big, oh, this is kind of cool too. Says me. This guy needs to be cleaned before I use him. That's fine. Also kind of makes me wonder what would happen if I used a pin, right? I mean, could I dip in the pin? Come around here. Oh, yeah, look at that. That actually works. Holy crap. Not as good as I wanted it to, though. It's cool. It's neat. It would be nifty, but it's too tight. I think I would use the pin. Man, my nib's already rusted. How did my nib get rusted? Just surface rust, but still. But it does make me think a smaller brush might be in order for this. So let's go in here and let's pull out all my brushes and let's take a look, because there are smaller brushes in my super cheap clear set. Like I have a brush that's not smaller, but it's narrower along that realm. But I do have some very small brushes in here. Like this guy here, right? He's much smaller. Actually, he would work a lot. Oh, look at that. Much better. Yeah, we should use a smaller brush. Yeah, I kind of should have done this before. It's all right. We learn, right? Now, the paint is starting to dry over here. So I'm going to real quickly, maybe a toothpick. Yeah, got some of those too. That's what I use when I'm working on minis, is a toothpick. So I'm going to go get some more water. We're going to reconstitute this a little. Reconstitute my paint just a hair, and pour just a little bit of water in here because it's starting to kind of seal up, and I don't want it to seal up yet. So we'll do this. I'll get some of that water over here because it's actually a little bit too much. But there we go. We get this kind of going again, and we'll reconstitute this for just a little longer. Just has to last a little longer. This is Colorado, and everything dries fast here. Paints dry fast. Everything dries fast. So there we go. Take our very small brush again and go in here. And that's much nicer. I'm not saying much because this kind of takes a lot of my concentration, so I apologize. So I have already had a couple of problems. I have what I call my stupid human trick. And I have a stupid human trick of which, when I was a kid, I was dyslexic. Just like Spock, by the way. And nobody really diagnosed me as dyslexic until I was much, much, much older. So they just thought I was not doing well with reading, and I was very young, and I knew I was smart, and it really bothered me that I couldn't read very well. So I adapted my visual cortex to read. And so I don't read words like everybody else does. They are big pictures for me in my head. And what this means is I actually, since my visual cortex is an artist's visual cortex, I don't perceive objects in the same way as most people do either. I tend to see them as just a picture, and I can perceive it forward or backward or upside down or reversed. So I have what I call my stupid human trick, which is where I take a book and I turn it upside down and I put it in the mirror, and I just crossed right over that line. I put it in a mirror upside down and I read it. It's a ridiculous, stupid human trick. But it's something I can do. And the problem with that is I don't see these cells as reversed because I can't tell whether this is backwards or forwards. I can read door girl just fine. There's no issue here. So it has its drawbacks, and one of them is I just read this just like anything else, and I can't tell it's reversed, and I have to stop and really pay attention to make sure I have it in reverse, because I can see down here, copyright 2019 New Quest Entertainment. It reads just fine to me forward or backwards. And that means, and though that is fun when you're at parties, it's not so good in this particular instance. Not one of my better skills. I also have a frame accurate eye, which I have noticed is starting to slow down as I grow older, and that's sad. But there once was a time where I could pick out one wrong frame in an animation and identify it. George, welcome back to the stage of history. You feeling not loved? What's the story? This is visit number 2 for you. I mean, I am all about loving the cat. And it's good because I actually kind of want to take a break anyway. And I'll let you visit with everybody and be George, as you oft are. George looks good in this light, though. Look at that. Look at how well. Look at his fur. Look at how furry he is. As a George cat. Look at the beautiful fur. What a good George cat. Oh yeah. Ooh, what a good cat. Well, he also likes this part right here, right about his rib cage that he likes to have rubbed. He's just purring. Say hi to everybody. Just say hi to everybody. What a good cat. Oh, George is a good cat. Oh, yeah, George is a good cat. Oh, George is a good cat. He's doing the making bread thing. And I put him over here on the... Yeah, but you see, you held on to me, and that's your problem. There we go. All right. Back to work for us. Okay. So just flipping this over doesn't look bad. Really doesn't look bad at all. I think I got a little bit in here. We'll turn on our lights, see how much bleed we've got. Not a lot of bleed, actually. I might be able to just, because this is drying really fast because it's very, very small. I'll just go in here and touch it up. I had a couple areas like right here. Yeah, like so. Just kind of, hitting the areas where I can see light through, because it should be light blocking. The paint should light block. But since it's mostly already dry, it's pretty easy to go back in with this brush and just tap in here like this, kind of go back in and just pick where it's pink. I can see through. There we go, like so. Couple areas, just missed a few little bits right there. The truth is, you won't see this very much. I'm just a perfectionist. This is not something you'd easily see. If Brian shows up, I won't see him very easily because I don't see the control panel over there. And now I can only see here what you guys see. So I'm going to go in here. Oh, too much. Still probably not enough to be a problem. But if we don't light block, somebody will backlight this cell and it'll look weird. So there we go. And going through and just tapping around the edges here. Man, this is where years of miniature painting comes into handy. Give this to Brent for all the final touches because he's probably much better at this than me. All right. So we're going to go put this guy over on the drying zone. Let it dry. And that will conclude Door Girl stuff. So I'll actually put the rest of the Door Girl cell over here. And that should make that a lot easier. Okay, next. We actually want to go on ahead and put the 7-Eleven cell. But I need to come back in with a knife here, and we're going to have to do some work on this one. It's dried already, so the only way to deal with it is going to be this guy. And we have to be extremely careful. But I can easily see right here. This is a very, very, very careful thing we have to do here because otherwise we'll cut through the cell. And that should fix that problem there. Right along here. There's a real problem, child. A door girl. There's the Earth Tau guys are so full of puns. I love those guys. They come up with the weirdest stuff, and it's so good. It's so good. Okay, looking through here, I'm going to go on ahead and put in I'm going to go back in here and just tighten this up a little. Because we got like here. And the good news is I don't think any of this is really out on the edge that much. There's a little bit right there. It's on the edge. But not a lot. So I can just lay this down and just seal up some stuff. There we go. I'm picking some of this edge here up. I did this cell before I realized I probably shouldn't do this side. So I was trying to paint them the other way. Are you visiting me, George? You coming up from behind? You really just want scritches today. You get a George tail. George tail. You're really just feeling like you need to be in the middle of the action today. I'm not letting you near here. You know that, right? I mean, I love you, but I'm not letting you near here. You're a good cat, but, you know, you got work to do. Here we go. I'm going to put this guy over here. Let him dry too. George wants the water. That's what George is after. Now, if he steps over here in one of my cells, it'll definitely be the end of George. Just saying, George. You'll be late. And why would it be so bad to be late? You'll be late as in the late Dent Arthur Dent. Okay. Here we go with Stitch. Now, back to the I've forgotten which way he flips, so I'm going to pull out the background for this so I can remember which way he flips. Because Stitch should be on his background. So this is backwards because this would be forwards. See how Stitch fits around that block right here? Wow, we got all chunky all of a sudden with the video. You can see that Stitch fits around this block right here. That's why he's missing a leg. Which, by the way, I just want to say how proud I am of this background. This could easily have been a Disney background. I'm so proud of that. Like, I could have done that. I'm just saying. Well, I did do that, but just saying. All right. Big brush time. Get in here with some paint. Just do blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to just keep doing this. And I will stop making that noise, I promise. But only a little more. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm done. Kind of going around the corners here, just making sure I got kind of everything going in. I am getting better at this. I shouldn't jinx myself, though, by saying I'm getting better at this and then promptly screw up this. That would be really sad. Do that. Kiddo is at school. I sent him off. But Dad, it's snowing. Builds character. I feel bad if something bad happened to him, of course. Okay. Done with the big brush. So I'm actually going to just switch from this guy to this guy. I'm just going to use him straight up, right? Because I'll just go in here and just, because this is a much better brush for this, I think. This is an O2 brush. And it works better around these corners. It also gives me a much cleaner line, and I'm liking it better. So I'm going to use this from now on instead of that other brush, which I was using, because this is just easier to get into these crevices and really work this situation. So tomorrow, the kiddo has... oh, no, we're not in spring break yet. We get a whatever contact day coming up on tomorrow. And then I think next week is spring break, but I'm not sure because I am really concentrated on this. And so I'm not paying attention to the school calendar at all. So there's two things that I have learned in this cell batch. Thing number one is pour the paint out and then dilute it a little bit with water helps a lot. Kind of getting in there. Thing two, I'm going to use this brush from now on. Much easier brush to deal with. Thing three is with the cat in the hat. However, my wife has not left for work yet. And she is downstairs, but I think she's been kicking George out for being a pest. So I think he's coming up here for some consolation scritches. Because I have a feeling he's been down there pestering her while she does her workout and stuff like that. So probably what's happening there is that. Odds are extremely good.
It's time to take a 2-minute break.
Hey, it's time for our 2-minute break, which we'll do when we're at this stopping point, but we're not there yet. And I'm going to finish Stitch so that Stitch can go sit over on the corner over there. See you in a second, my friend. Stitch can go over and dry. There. We'll double check. Still got some light holes down here. I can probably come in here and just tap in on a little and then be fine. Anyway, he'll have to come back for pass 2 in a minute. We can put him over here for right now. Let him cool or dry or whatever we want to call it. And let's get the Pikachu side of that cell. And once again, I think this is the front. So I'm going ahead and do this, clean off this brush, because you're going to come back in here on this one. Right, so checking down here, this is my signature. Looking at my signature, I believe this is forward, so this is reversed. So we will do this. Okay. Big brush time. All right, we'll come in here and start with the big brush pieces first. We're going through a lot of paint on this one. Makes sense. It's a big cell, right? There we go. I'm hearing the scrambling of little paws, or rather big paws, because, you know, he is who he is in the end. Well, for the first time, Pikachu is going to chew up all of my paint. So the first time we're going to have to get more paint on the palette. It's all right. We should take that break that Alexa just told us to do. But I wanted to get some paint down first. Okay, let's go on ahead and quickly just clean the brushes. Always clean your brushes between, even if you're just taking a break for a few minutes. Never, never, never leave paint on brushes. Now, Brian was going to join me. I'm not seeing a Brian yet. Just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. Okay. We'll let Pikachu do one round of drying there while we talk about 44 Sierra. So here is Bay 44 Sierra. This is the landing bay that we are in for when we come in for a landing on the second half of our story. You may recognize the shape of 44 Sierra as the back half of the MPV, and it is. I just redressed it, which is exactly what I was saying before when I said once you build the physical assets, you can reuse them by just redressing them and nobody will see the difference, right? We've got ourselves a Unity destroyer in here and a random freighter. And then we've got a couple of MPVs flying out, and we've got an MPV on dock or on the deck down here on one of the landing pads in the back. Then we have the Kittiwake sitting over here. So This is the way that 44 Sierra is rolling out, and that's just fine. I'm using that old Kittiwake model, which makes me kind of think that at some point here, I'm going to have to do something about this and maybe come up with a better Kittiwake model. So we'll have to see what happens. So, okay, so we are here at break time. Everybody should stretch. We should see whether Brian's going to make it or not. The snow is getting a little bit more intense now. Still isn't sticking to the streets or anything. But it is pretty intense out there. I'm also noticing that I have a little tree. What? A little tree. I have a tree that's growing up in my yard right here. And the branches of the tree are now actually sitting on the railing of my deck. So when when spring comes, I usually will take a chair and a table, and I'll sit it out on that deck in the morning and draw. And we'll do that too. We'll get there to the point where I'll just put a camera out there, and we'll do the drawing out there too. So we'll hang out in the morning. The wonderful morning, spring mornings here are great. And that's a west-facing, this is a west-facing window. So the sun is over here. What I will probably do is I had an umbrella that was there, but I really want to get an awning that comes down, covers that deck. So I may do that at some point. So there we go. Okay, back to work for us. Let's go on ahead and head over to the desk again, and let's take a look at where we were. So we're running low on paint. So let's go on ahead and put some more paint back in here. And this time, I'm going to go on ahead and pre-mix it with a little bit of my water. Just a little this time, though. Not a lot. And this way we can kind of get it to be a little looser right off the bat, because I like the way it's working when it's a little bit looser. And grab some of this paint that's come up on the side too, around here. Get some of that in here. This way it's not quite as solid. All right, come back in here. We can then fill in some of this. You can see already that we're going to end up with a lot of paint on this guy. Because he's just a big cell. A lot of paint down on this. So we'll do this. I'm just putting the paint down, make sure that it's thicker. And sort of a doorbell noise instead of a boo-doop. That's all I get whenever somebody joins my show is this boo-doop. And if I don't catch it, if it sounds like the music that's playing already in there, then I get humiliated by Pepper for days. Oh, crap. Well, we can go back in there and fix that. The only reason that stresses me out at all is because I forget. And so it's become sort of a thing. This always looks messy That's so funny. Yeah, you're back. Like I said, I think you're getting kicked out by mom downstairs. What do you think? Is she kicking you out? Is mom kicking you out? No? We're in crazy mode? Okay, crazy mode's fine. You can be in crazy mode. But I'm not in crazy play mode, so we're not doing the red dot. I'm sorry, dude. I love you, but we're not doing the red dot. We got work to do. All right. This morning I woke up and I was a little bit panicked because I have spent a couple of days doing cells and hadn't really gotten very many of them done. And I was freaking out because I was realizing it's Thursday. And if we don't get cracking on these things, we're not going to have any of them ready. And especially since a lot of the cells that I had were only one cell of a 3-layer piece or something like that. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going to make it, guys. I'm not going to have anything on my table. And you know how it goes. And now I've got a couple of these guys already sitting over there. We've learned a couple of techniques that speeds this up a little bit better. And I'm speeding up as a person. I mean, as an artist, I'm speeding up naturally. There we go. So get the rest of this paint before I have to refill up here. I'm gonna have to do that. Boy, Pikachu took a lot of paint, didn't he? You're a big boy. Pikachu. Pika Pika. One thing I did learn though is the hardest cells are going to be the ones that we do that are done realistic in the realistic mode. So very much like Door Girl over there, she's realistic. She doesn't have a black border around the outside of her work. So I really don't want to do those any more than I absolutely have to. Going back for more paint. There we go. Seal that in. Touch of water. And you know what? I'm going to get a mixing thing. Let's get a mixing thing. What do I have over here that I can use for mixing? What crappy brushes do I have that I could use for mixing? I feel like I could have something over here that was mixy-bowl. Mixy. Oh, there's little teeny brushes that don't do anything. I like these red brushes, though. Here, I just use you for mixing for right now. I'll just use you for mixing. There we go, just mixing that in. Let's get this paint mixed. The waterier the paint, I'm noticing, the better this is coming out. So I'm going to, a lot of this I'm just saying out loud so that I don't forget it. Mostly because I will forget it. And then I will say, what in the heck was I doing? Where the heck is Brian? Haven't seen Brian in a couple of days. Not since I'm gonna text Brian real quick and say, "You okay, Brian?" I haven't seen him in a while. He tried to join Monday. Brian, bro, Brian. Just missing you on the show. There. There we go. Now I'll come back in here. We're going to come back in here and just get into this. These tight areas up here. All right. There we go. Looks like we've got some paint sludge already forming in there, so kind of want to be careful. We're using the same bucket for a long time. I'm going to cover as much in the black areas, but because black does cover very well by itself, but I still want to try to do what I can, you know. All right, go in here. I'm going to get this little lightning bolt up here. Even with this guy, it's hard. Getting really tight in here and looking at stuff, kind of working on getting into this part and getting into his claws in here. Man, this must be like watching paint dry, you guys. I'm entertained. But we're getting there. And honestly, you know, it'd be cute when these things are on sale. Man, I need even a smaller brush to get into this guy. The good news is it's lightning, so I'm kind of letting it be squishy and splashy, and that's okay because lightning. But it's still kind of a, well, you know. Okay, Brent, when Brent comes back, remind me to ask Brent that I need to know what he wants, what he's looking for in his commission piece. Because Brent's looking for a commission piece. And I will have some other commissions coming in probably after this convention, or at least hopefully, knock on wood. So I'll be in commission mode. Might as well do all the commissions all at once. So you just ask him, where do you want, what do you want? Just give me more details. Please don't put them here, Brent, because the show will dump all of this data. So email me very detailed instructions, please. All right. I've watertighted Pikachu. That was a long ass job there. Took forever to get Pikachu done. So we'll put Pikachu over. And if we turn off our board, thanks, Dad. He actually looked pretty solid too. I see already just a couple of places real quick before I put him over on the drawing board. Right by his cheek. Chikachu. Not a real complicated guy, but with a light off, I really can see even more some of the holes that are in this. Right through here. I mean, it's pretty obvious with the light on, but man, turning off the light's useful too. Remember to double check all these guys before I send them off to convention land. Because I've got that your character, so your Star Trek character. I'm with you now. Because I actually know Marcus pretty well as a character, so I can make the cell based off of that. Which ship? That's going to be an important one to know, because we're going to need to know that. Because it can't just be any ship. I mean, I can do the van. I can do... You're not on the QSTA with Tessara. There we go. Packing a lot of holes here. I have a model for the QSTA. I got to print her out because that's a good, solid model I made. I'm very proud of my model of the QSTA. All right. We have now made 4 operating cells, which are solid and ready to go, sort of, ish. They'll need another pass. It's not a problem. But let's go to one more cell, because we've got a lot of these guys to do. Yes? Okay. Badges are on this side. Okay, so this is the flip. Okay. Still don't see Brian. Yeah, we're getting there. Look at us go. Honey! I was hoping I didn't lose you in the time thingy when the US decided to switch to daylight savings time. I'm glad to see you. My dear friend, we've missed you. So, Good to have you back. How are things in your neck of the woods? Hope it's not raining. But I mean, I know it's monsoon season, so, or we'll come up on monsoon season somewhere along the line. I don't know. I live in Colorado. We have snow and then we have sun, and that's pretty much it. We don't get monsoon seasons and stuff like that, so. And today is snow again. Oh, wait. Hone came back. I need to say, welcome back to the stage of history. I love Soul Calibur. I'm such a Soul Calibur idiot. I love Soul Calibur. The newest Soul Calibur, though, boy, they made Sonmina just so booby. She's got huge boobs now, and I'm like, ugh. And they're like under booby. Like you can, it's just a little excessive. I mean, I like boobs as much as the next guy, but when you're talking about warriors, we don't expose those things. They'll get cut off. It's no fun. Nobody wants that. There you go. I'm okay with that. Take a break, my friend, when you need to. Take care of yourself. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere. You'll still be part of the family when you come back. You know how it goes. We'll always be here forever and ever and ever and ever. At least I have a number of comic books to make, so I'm not stopping anytime soon. Still don't see Brian. However, at least, oh, hey, Hone, the U.S. government has decided that daylight savings is stupid. So, starting in 2023, we will no longer be doing time changes, which is good. Or at least, well, I mean, that's not a given yet. It still has to go through the House and still has to go through, the president has to sign it. But I can't imagine anybody really has an objection to it, so it should be fine. I am worried about your mental health, though, my friend, so stay with me. We're here. We're your family. We'll hang with you. We're your internet family. Internet family. Interesting story. Back in the very early days of the internet, I was on the Denver Freenet, which existed long before the World Wide Web like we know it. You would call in to the Denver Freenet's servers. And the Denver Freenet servers were at Denver University downtown. No, they were at Colorado University, Denver. That's what it was. So you'd use your dial-up modem and you'd call in to the Denver University, and it had a network computer there. That's totally fine, my friend. You take care of yourself. We'll see you on the flip side. Stay with us, though, okay? So come back in 2 or 3 weeks. Well, come back when you need to come back, my friend. We've got work to do for the convention. We'll be doing that and everything, but you always have a home here. So just come back when you're ready. Take as much time as you need. It is always okay. Take care of yourself. We'll be here. And we'll have Squishy Paint and George to take care of you. George will happily say hi. He's been here all day with his tail. And his tail has been in the camera. I don't know what his problem is. But you know we're always here. So when you're ready, come back. We'll be here. Thank you for checking in. Wow, look at this. Turned my water into milk. No wonder George goes after it. Looks like milk. There we go. Okay, taking my 02. I've got a divot on my 02. It's like a thing sticking out there. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, okay. 02. Going in and just covering the outside edge, including like areas like her ear. Make sure we get in there. Get in there tight, you know? Come back around. So, it's so weird to think that daylight savings time soon will be one of those things that we will say, I remember when we used to have daylight savings time. And the clock switched all over the place. And we had to remember to spring forward and fall back and all of those weird things we used to do. It's going to be dark, though. We're north. Denver's pretty far north, so when it hits November, it's going to start getting dark in the morning. You know, without a daylight savings time and without standard time or whatever we were on, it's going to get dark. And like, I think that if you think about it, you know, it got darkish it was still dark in the middle of the winter. It's dark until 7:30. And so that's going to be dark until 8:30 now. So far, kiddo hasn't been walking to school in the dark yet. But that's going to change. And I'm just going to sit there like any good dad and say, it builds character. Dad, it's so dark. Builds character. Makes you a better person, more tolerant, able to handle change. With change. Yeah, I know. Going through here, kind of getting into the thumb. Over here into the hand. Down here. Go along the bottom. Yeah. This is very zen, though. Feel very zen kind of doing this. Keep looking over to see Brian not out there. Hope he's okay. Good to see Hone's checked in. Worried about them. So, you're in that part of life which is not any fun. I remember it. All right. Get that side kind of going over here. Really need to get into this hand over here, and I'm not really interested in getting into this hand. It's bubbling up along the edge because there's actually no ink on it. And we've already learned the way this works. The paint likes to stay on the ink. All right. Hit the other side. Seal this in. There we go. There we go. Kind of going in here on this side. We'll come along here and just hit along this. There we go. Ooh, moving along, moving along, moving along. Look at us doing good. All right. Yep, we're watching paint dry. Still not Brian. Hope he's okay. Actually, I have not heard from Brian since Drawing Club Tuesday night when we were both at the game store when we were doing our drawing club. And it occurs to me that I haven't heard from him since, and he wasn't on the show yesterday. And he isn't on the show today, and he was trying to get work done. So I am kind of thinking I'm going to reach out to him and see if he's okay, make sure everything is all right, and make sure nothing bad's happened to him. He's had some health bouts. He got COVID before the vaccines, and so he's still suffering from lingering effects. And that's not good. Man, I won't forget that day. He texted me a picture of him in the hospital, hooked up to all these machines. Oh. It's like, I'm doing better now. COVID didn't kill me. I was like, COVID was going to kill you? He's like, well, I tried, but then it didn't. He's been getting better as time's been going on. But boy, at the very beginning there, he was having real problems thinking. He was having problems doing stuff. And of course, you heard when he first texted me and he was like, I have no control really over, I don't have any fine motor control. I was like, uh-oh. So I went and got vaccinated right away. Even though I was on the plan to get in on the Moderna, I went ahead and got the Johnson & Johnson because I didn't want to mess with that. I really didn't want to mess with that. I didn't want to lose my hands. That was something I didn't expect. Okay. So, turning on that, we can see through a lot of this. So, I'm thinking that we've got kind of, we're going to come back in and seal it up again some more, which is fine, but we'll let her dry for a bit. But, I mean, doesn't look bad. That's pretty solid. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Where's Stitch? 6. Stitch. So we've done 6 in the block of the show. That's not bad at all. That's really, really good. I'm actually pretty impressed. I'm going to stretch for just a minute longer, and then we're going to try to see if we can't do one more. Because we've done one of each now. We've got solidly done. We've got another door girl we could do. We've got another umbrella girl we could do. We've got another set for Pikachu. I feel like Pikachu and Stitch is going to be popular. So I probably ought to at least have 2 of those guys sitting out on the table and see what happens there. I feel like that's a popular enough combo. And then I've got, I think I'll do another Harley. So we've got one more Harley we can do. So we can do her real quick. Is that flipped? Yes, it's flipped. Okay. So we can do one more Harley. I think that'd be pretty decent. Door girl's irritating. Just saying. It's an irritating combo. Okay, so door girl. Harley doesn't matter whether it's flipped backwards or forwards. So the reversed Harley that I did earlier is still a viable sale. I can still use that one and sell her. Even though it's flipped. But let's go ahead and just real quickly use the rest of this paint up on Harley so that I don't have to worry. I don't generally, I'm trying to move away from doing other people's stuff. However, she sells well. And it's back to, people like the nostalgia of stuff. So it's kind of one of those. I don't like doing these, but on the other hand, I do like money. And it is good to be paid. And these pay well. So there's that. So anyway, we'll come in here and we'll just use up the rest of this paint on Harley so that when the paint, I can clear off the paints at the end of this show. We've got other things to do today, tonight, this afternoon. I'll come back to this and touch these guys up tonight, and we will do the remaining cells tomorrow. And then that will be fine. That'll be good for the convention. Hey, Tem Nuv. How you doing? Welcome to the show. We're doing cell painting. It's an ancient art. It's an ancient art because nobody does it anymore. So that's what we're after here, is cell painting. No, I don't speak Russian, although I do know sort of what you're asking. Unfortunately, I don't have a translator on my on Twitch, so I can't read. I mean, I can see. No, you're fine, man. You do you. It's all good. But I don't have Cyrillic. I can read Cyrillic. I can see that it says Cyrillic, but I can't understand. Unfortunately, I have a buddy who's Russian, and she likes to write to me in Cyrillic too. And I keep reminding her that I can't. I can read Japanese, but I don't speak. I mean, I think all I can say is Yanishnayet, right? Like, I don't actually speak anything. I know nothing. I'm sorry. That's the best I got, is I don't speak anything. Demo, moshi Nihongo o hanase koto ga watashi wa watashi tachi no shigoto o shimasu. I can speak Japanese. If you speak Japanese, that's what I got. I'm bilingual, but not bilingual in Russian, unfortunately. My sister speaks Russian. And she speaks French, and she speaks German, and she speaks Arabic in like 72 different dialects. My sister is much cooler than I. However, I love that people are joining me from all over the world. So you're welcome here. This is a safe spot for everybody. I don't go into the politics. I don't play the politics game. So people are people. You're safe here. Everybody's safe here. I feel like that ding might have been Brian. It's okay. There we go. Of course, my Japanese, I just realized, always sounds like I'm a teenager because I always speak like my kids spoke. So when I speak, I say things like demo moshi because they kept adding syllables. Their syllables did not exist. And I kept going, what are you guys doing? Every time. Nande, nani o Did it. What are you guys doing? None of you. So I think about that often. Like, what happened to my Japanese skills anyway? Corrupted by my students. Definitely corrupted by my kids. But I love those kids. They were good kids. Boy, they were weirdos, though. I love those guys so much. Weirdos in a good way. Good kids. It's been 11 years, 12 years. It's been 13 years since I was there. All of my kids are now grown up, and they're all living their lives, and some of them probably, most of them maybe even have kids, and they're all working, and it's so weird to think about that, you know? All those kids who were kids, and they're still kids in my head, you know what I mean? Like, they're still kids in my head. I can't, if I were to run into them today, they'd be these adults, and I would be like, I don't know who you are. And they'd be like, don't you remember I was your student back? I'd be like, you were a little kid. I look at pictures that I took from back then, and it's, they're so young and they're so little. And I keep thinking, I will never, ever see those kids like that. I mean, because they don't exist like that, right? Even if I meet them today, they would still be very different. They'd be adults, they'd be grown up. They would. Be so different. I need to ask my sister how to say I don't speak Russian in Russian. I actually don't know how to do that. All right, got 10 minutes left in the show. That's good because we're going to get to the end of this. This is a lot easier to get into her hair than last time. Last time I was trying to do her hair, it was a pain in the butt because I didn't use this small brush and I didn't thin the water. Or, sorry, thin the paint. So, 10 minutes will end this stream. And I'll go to lunch because it's lunchtime. No walk today because it's snowing and miserable outside. So there's that. That's where I'm hearing voices. That's when you know you're going crazy, guys. That's when you start hearing voices. All right. Getting in here, and I'm just touching the last bits, trying to get kind of in here just a little bit before I turn on the light and see how many holes I've got in this, because I'm sure I've got a ton of holes, right? But I'm getting really close out here at this edge. I'm noticing that it's still hard, even with an O2, to get into these little sections of her hair out here where it's just out in the middle of the greens a little bit. Right, now I got a tighter brush. kind of going in here and just doing a little bit more of that, like so. So kind of going back in here, just making sure I've got kind of everything tightened up that I can see with the light above. I can go back in here and just kind of tap like so. Tap, tap, tap. Just kind of hit some of these things. Now I'll turn on the light. You know, not as bad as I expected. I thought I'd be in far worse shape. I must be improving. Look at me. All right, imagine that. I'm actually getting better at this stuff. There we go. Now that we've turned on the light, though, I'm going to go on ahead and just take the last of, because we're going to be done here in just a few minutes, and I'm just going to go on ahead and just blot this in using this brush. All right, just scoop up the last of this paint and get it in here and just kind of blot it into these larger holes that are obviously showing up in the paint. Here, I'm just going to scoop this up and kind of get it in here. Kind of just push right there. Be careful going in there and do that. Mess it up pretty good. All right, and then we'll go like this, go like that. Right here and kind of do this. All right, just sealing this stuff up. Getting in here, I'll pour the rest of my water in here. All right, we can mix this up with what's left. And kind of level this out a little, right? There we go. Okay, I think we're solid. So that's the first pass we did today on a number of cells, which is good. That means this doesn't take as long as I was expecting it to take. It doesn't take as much time as I thought it was going to take. I thought this was going to be far, far, far worse as far as how much time and effort it was going to take to do those cells. So I'm pretty pleased. That turned out relatively well. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and just bring you back up and save you because we've got the shuttle bay here. I also think that if we do a 12-page comic, one of the things we can do is show this picture, the outside picture here in the end. This guy here. I'm going to show this picture and say, what's in Bay 44 Sierra, and point towards the different ships and things like that that are in Bay 44 Sierra. I think that'd be kind of fun. And then that way we can have that as a page at the end, which is cool. Hey. Watching the video over here as far as, the delay between two things is like kind of interesting. So, okay. It's now 11 o'clock. So I will see you all tomorrow. It will be Friday check-in time, but I'll probably still be working on cells. So we'll be doing all of that. We'll kind of get them through. but they're coming along nicely. Again, like I said, when I put them in the plastic containers, they look really nice, and you can see through them pretty well, right? So that's pretty cool. I'm digging this. So we've got, this works really well. Interested to see how it all looks when in practice. So we're about ready for prepping. Tomorrow will be probably prep day. We'll probably pull out all the things, make sure that I've still got my cash box and stuff like that, which we'll see what happens there. So other than that, we're doing fine, and I think we will probably be ready to go. Otherwise, thank you all for joining me. It's good to see you, Hone. It was good to have you back here for a little bit. Hope you take care of yourself. Hope you feel better. Probably see you next week. Temnuv, it was good to see you for just a little bit here, and I hope I see you more often. Wish I spoke some more Russian, but I don't. You can do your best. Nobody cares. Don't worry. No pressure. It's all good. Donald, of course, always good to see you here, Donald. And Brent, I don't know where Brent went, but Brent will be back at some point, I know. And as for everyone else, remember to keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.
Computer, good night.